We're the voice of the voiceless. Enough said.
Welcome back to Enough Said, hosted by Gemo, Carolite, and Cherry Poet. Today's topic is should Trump be contesting the election results? Gemo, what say ye?
Well, let me just start out by saying I don't want to rub it in or anything, but Biden won! Yeah! Kamala Harris. I have to point out that in Kamala's acceptance speech, she mentioned a lot about her Indian side of the family, not so much about her Jamaican side. I understand. I don't know what the relationship is like between her and her father, but I'm here to say her father is Jamaican, so we have a Jamaican in the White House. Woo-hoo-hoo. So we have to be happy for that. Not only that, we have a Black female for the first time in the White House. I understand, however, that she's not the first Jamaican vice president with Jamaican blood. There was another one, I forget his name now, way back in the day, and it looks like his father was more of a white Jamaican, but we made it to the White House again. Woo-hoo. Okay, so I understand that there's a big demonstration or rally, or I don't know what you want to call it, in DC today in support of President Donald Trump. And what I would call it I guess they're rallying or celebrating his loss. I don't know, but I wish them all the best because he did get a good amount of votes. And so, like Joe Biden being the man he is, I'm going to be as big as he would be and reach across the aisle and say, guys, even though I know Trump probably wouldn't have done the same, I'm going to reach across the aisle and say, welcome aboard. Joe is for all the people. Go ahead, Cherry.
Well, let me start off by saying, that does mean something to see Kamala Harris, a Black woman, as vice president. If they did in fact really win, I gotta tell you, leading up to the announcement, the days leading up to the announcement, and they were showing in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, the convention center where the votes were being counted. And the first thing I said to myself was, if I were in court charged for murder, I would take offense to having so much of the other kind counting, that, being judge and jury. You know what I'm saying? It was 99.9% Black folk counting it. And if you're Trump, that's got to make you feel some. Who's to say there's not some trailer somewhere, or some storage place somewhere, or a truck hidden away with a bunch of Trump votes inside of it. Like, hey, anything is possible. And I totally believe that there's no way, the news kept advertising, Joe Biden's getting all the votes, all the mail-ins. I mailed in my vote and I voted for Trump. And just like we say at the end of Enough Said, what we say, may hurt some feelings, but we speak for a lot of people. My vote, it's not just my vote. I speak for a lot of people. A whole lot of people mailed in votes, and they acted as if no one voted by mail for Trump. And if I were Trump, I'd contest it. And so you guys got to look at it like this. If it were the other way around and Trump came out, according to the news, announced as the winner, you guys would be like, oh, something's foul, man, something happened. No. But because it's in your favor, you're all happy, joy, and I just feel like, Trump, fight for your rights. There's no telling, your votes could be in some trailer somewhere. Your votes could have been ripped up. I totally believe it, So, hey.
Well, this is what I think. Trump lost. And not only did he lose, he lost bigly. Bigly. So here's the thing.
Laugh so loudly, girl.
Oh, I'm trying to contain myself here. And here's the beauty of this thing. The same amount of electoral votes that he won by in 2016 is the same amount of electoral votes Joe Biden has won by, because we know Joe Biden won the election, right? We won't even contest that. So,
of course,
here's the thing. When Trump won in 2016, there was no, he did not come up with anything about the voting system was a fraud. He didn't have anything to say. In fact, they boasted how they won by a landslide. So now that the shoe is on the other foot, why are they not boasting that Joe won by a landslide, according to them?
Right. Let me say this. First of all, most of the time when you are going back to the convention center, Cherry, most of the time there's a Democrat and a Republican in the room. It's unfortunate that you saw your own skin color and didn't realize that some of them in the room were Republicans. It's unfortunate that since you voted for Trump, you don't think that other Black folks voted for Trump. And also,
that's not what I'm saying. Again, think of it as, what if it were all, what if you're in court and it's an all-white jury and you're a Black person? You're not going to say, you know what, some of these white folk may, see that I'm innocent. You're not going to say that. The only thing you're going to see is a bunch of white faces, and it's going to scare the mess out of you, which goes back to why Trump kept saying, don't mail in, go to the polls, because he knew that if mail-in votes, anybody could attack those votes. Those votes could be ripped up. Those votes could be separated and thrown in a trailer. Anything could happen to those votes. He knew that. He knew that when you go to the polls, you have less chance of fraud than you do with mail-ins. Like, who's really to say? Like, who's really to say that they didn't count his votes long before they were supposed to, and then just trash his stuff? How do you know? How do you? With that said, this is the last time I will ever vote in America. I will never vote again.
Never say never.
Why? Because I don't believe it is not possible that every single or 99.9% of the mail-in votes were for Biden. Just as, if they had said everybody who voted at the polls voted for Trump, you would have been like, that's crazy.
They never said that, Cherry Point. Why do you send out misinformation?
That's how the media
painted. Not even, they said the majority. They never said 99.9%. And your president vote by mail all the time. So go talk to him. And he was the one, Trump, who told people not to vote by mail. Why so many mail-in votes are Democratic?
That's what I'm saying, because he knew that there was a chance for fraud when it comes to the mail. You got to understand is this. Okay, yeah, Trump normally votes by mail. You have the military who vote by mail, but that's a small percentage compared to millions, compared to 90 million or something that mailing in votes. Come on now.
Corona? Come on. You remember that name? COVID-19? Who wants to stand at
the fact of the matter is the percentage of people who normally, without COVID, who normally vote by mail is a very small percentage. It's not like having to count. It's like counting maybe 3,000 versus counting 90 million. Come on.
But that changed since COVID. That's why we had so many votes by mail, because of COVID-19.
And because it is so many votes by mail, there is too much chance of fraud. Too much.
No, the only fraud was the Trump voters who voted for their dead parents. There's the only fraud they found. I went to the poll, and it was the most clean, effective voting process that I've ever seen. I voted by mail, but I took some people to the poll, and it was the most clean, effective. Trump is just a sore loser. Nobody wanted a loser back in office again to terrorize the people, to talk about how Mexicans are rapists and we're from shithole countries, and to terrorize immigrants and to terrorize and to big up the Proud Boys. Nobody wanted that. I mean, 97 million racist people and a few confused blacks, yeah, but generally nobody wants that. And a few confused Hispanics from Venezuela and Cuba and Haiti who should all be sent back, or they should cut their food stamps off or something. But because we're not...
Let me just point out a few good things that Trump did. Number one, contrary to what people like Obama and the average Democrats do, they promote, the government will help you and go on welfare and all this stuff. You know what Trump said to people? Trump said, get out and work. Go and work. Trump was a better example. He might have had his ways, but you have to understand that he's focused on a certain people that we thought didn't exist because of, this keep everything on the hush and don't say that and this political correctness and stuff. Trump showed you that America is not the hush hush and all lovey dovey that you thought it was under Democratic president. He showed you that racism still existed. You can't blame him for that. He brought that to light. You know what I'm saying?
I have to blame him for that. He encouraged it.
Even so, he did nothing to hurt the black man. Okay, so he said, certain islands are shithole countries or whatever like that. What did he do to the black man? What?
Nothing.
Well, first of all,
let Caroline go.
Donald Trump, we all made more money.
Let Caroline, not me. No. Nobody I know made more money.
I didn't make any money under Donald.
Nobody I know. Don't be fooled.
Listen, here's what first of all, Trump lost bigly. But let's go back to 2016. The voting system is the same voting system, but in 2016, the Russian play a major part in the Russians played a major part in helping Trump to win the election. So even if we were to say there is all the things that he's claiming, fraud, ballots, deleted ballots, even though the ballots is in a pencil and pen form, but he said they were deleted and all of that stuff. Hey, he lost. Period. That is the bottom line. And the truth is, where you go to cast your ballot, like Gemma said, Cherry Point, there's always Republican and Democrats. They don't just have one party.
They weren't close enough. And a lot of that was because of COVID and this whole, stand back 6 feet. Now think about it. You're standing 6 feet away. How can you see across the room to see who somebody voted for? You can't see it.
But you have to remember now, 70
switch right in front of your eyes and you wouldn't see it.
Listen,
any switching was for Trump because he's known as a crook to steal elections. Nobody else does.
Trump got over 70 million votes. Yeah. So come on now. Do you think that
a lot more would have been switched?
A lot more would have been switched.
If over 70 million people voted for that man.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Think that at least 30 million didn't vote by mail. What makes you think that?
No, man.
All of that voted for him at the poll. I think he stole some of those votes.
70 million is votes made. 70 million is both mail-in and the poll. 70 million is a combination of mail-in votes and poll votes.
No, they said over 70 million.
Yes, it is.
Polls for Trump. That's serious. That is
via
serious.
mail as well as in person.
As well as polls combined. But guess what? I think Trump stole some of those votes. I don't think he got that many.
Yeah, he stole it. He was out golfing, but he stole it, Jim.
He didn't get all that many votes. No way. We don't have 70-something million worth of racist people in the country. No, we don't. And talking about what Trump did for the Black people, that he has done nothing for Black people. He has done a lot for his rich white counterpart. You know, the whole Black person he has done something good for? Ice Cube and Lil Wayne. That's the only two Black person that he has done anything.
And maybe Kanye West.
Kanye West had his own party. Kanye West, no, Trump ain't doing nothing good for him. He ran his own election.
But Cherry Point, remember, this is a president who still cannot say, you're saying he did a lot for Blacks. He still cannot say publicly, Black Lives Matter. What say he about that?
Something out to you. President Trump in 2016 became what? The 46th president? Right?
5 or 6, yeah.
President, he became in the 46 presidents. Donald Trump was the only president who stood up and said, Black people, I'm gonna do something for you.
And
no other president, you could Google it.
And did nothing.
No other president in American history said anything like that.
The man is full of words and no.
What did he do?
Open the dialogue so that now Biden can say, oh yeah, Black folks, I'm good. But no other president said that.
The man is full of talk. What bite, bark and no bite. He says Black people go out to work while he's playing golf on the golf course. And tweeting. How much time did he spend working other than being in the public eye before the camera? Have you ever seen him do any work, anything other than talk in front of the camera? Let me finish.
Trump's working his whole life. Then he ran businesses, TV shows, a bunch of stuff. Trump was always working.
He stole his whole life.
He deserves the golf. Look at Bush. Bush used to just disappear.
Well, you know what? He'll have plenty of time to golf after January 20th, 2021.
Let me tell you something, Jemo. Lawsuits or no, guess what? Trump is always going to be good. Trump is always going to be good.
For Melania? He's not even good for Melania, much as us.
What I'm saying is, you're saying it as if, oh, he lost and now he's going to be broke or something. Trump is good.
Oh, you mean he's good financially?
Trump is always going to be good.
If he doesn't get behind bars, sure.
Trump, and he won't.
And listen. He owns so many people. Let me talk. He owes so many people money. He's in so much debt. He is just a pretender. How you mean he's good? He's not good. He borrows until he's weak. That's why Russia has him in his pocket. He owes them money. He owes the world money. And that is why he can fool you, but he can't fool me. He's not good at all. It's a pretender.
You mentioned Russia, and Carol mentioned Russia and how Russia, please stop. If you're running for president, if any one of you are running for president and I am in Jamaica and I hear something about your opponent and I blast it out on YouTube or I blast it on Facebook, that's not me interfering with the election. That's me pointing something out to you.
If it was a lie, it is interference. Russia had propaganda and lies.
As if Russia went to the polls and did some stuff. No, all they did was put out some stuff about Hillary.
No,
that's all they did.
I believe the machines in Florida were rigged, but that was only me. I believe they were rigged towards Trump, and I still believe they're rigged towards Trump, and that is why he won Florida. I've always believed this. From 2016, I was the only person who voiced it. Long before they talk about collusion, I was telling people the machines are rigged, and nobody listened. And it was a week before the election that Florida exposed how easy it is to rig the machine.
those emails and stuff about Hillary Clinton on you, I mean Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and things to do with the poll results.
What I'm trying to say is, Cherry Poet, they bought an electoral machine off eBay, and they showed you that you could put 50 votes in for one candidate, but when it printed out, you could have, say, one candidate with 50, the other with 0. When it printed out, it gave the candidate who you voted for 50 times 13, and then the other candidate got 17. And that, I believe, Missy, is what happened why Donald Trump even became president. So here's the thing I do want to say before we end. I think he is mad, and he wants to believe that the same strategy that he used to win is the same thing that the Democrats are using to win this time, but it's not so.
How do you know that?
Well, they said everybody, listen, because both Democrats and Republicans says there's no evidence of any type of fraud, voter fraud, machine fraud. And in Georgia now, they're going to recount by hand to make sure that there is no any evidence of machine fraud. And exactly, guess what? He's going to lose Georgia again. He's going to lose. He's a loser. Loser.
Current events, injustice, police brutality, systematic racism, politics. What say ye? Enough said.